before the world ever called him champion. Before the lights, the medals, the chants of roaring crowds. Before he became the most recognized face on planet Earth, there was a boy in Louisville, Kentucky. He wasn't feared, he wasn't famous, he wasn't even strong. But every morning, in a tiny room on Grand Avenue, he faced the mirror. And with a fire bigger than his frame, bigger than his circumstances, bigger than anyone's expectations, he said, "I am the greatest." People laughed. His teachers shook their heads. His own family sometimes wondered if he was losing his mind. Even he, some mornings, barely believed it. But he said it anyway, again and again and again, until the mirror stopped showing a boy and started reflecting a future. Because greatness doesn't begin when the world sees it. It begins when you do. And it starts with words so powerful they can reshape reality itself. This is the story of how a 12-year-old kid from the segregated South used one of Napoleon Hill's most misunderstood principles to literally speak himself into becoming the most electrifying athlete in human history. This is the story of autosuggestion. This is the story of Muhammad Ali. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how to use the same weapon he used to transform your own life. His name was Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr., born January 17, 1942. In a world that told black boys to stay quiet, keep their heads down, and accept their place. But Cassius was different from day one. His mother, Odessa, later said he came out of the womb talking, not crying, talking. Like he had something important to say to the world. Louisville in the 1950s wasn't kind to dreamers who looked like him. The Clay family lived in a modest house at 3302 Grand Avenue. His father, Cassius Sr., painted signs and billboards for a living. His mother cleaned houses for wealthy white families. They worked hard. They were good people. But they lived in a world with invisible ceilings everywhere. Then, on October 29, 1954, everything changed. He was 12 years old. He had saved up money from odd jobs to buy a red Schwinn bicycle. That bike represented freedom, independence, a taste of the American dream. He rode it to the Columbia Auditorium for the annual home show. When he came out hours later, the bike was gone, stolen. Now, most kids would have cried, gone home defeated, accepted that sometimes life just takes things from you. But not Cassius. He marched straight to the police station, not to report the theft quietly like a victim, but to make a declaration that would echo through history. He found Sergeant Joe Martin and said, with all the fury his 12-year-old frame could muster, "If I find who did it, I'll whoop him good." Joe Martin looked at this skinny kid, all of 89 pounds, and almost laughed. But something in the boy's eyes stopped him. There was a fire there, a certainty, a complete inability to see himself as small. "You better learn how to fight first," Martin said, and pointed toward a staircase. "There's a boxing gym downstairs." That gym was in the basement of a television station. It smelled of sweat and dust and broken dreams. No fancy equipment, no sponsors, just old gloves, a heavy bag, and men who had learned to fight their way out of circumstances. Most kids would have taken one look and walked away. The place was intimidating, rough, adult. But Cassius walked down those stairs like he owned them, like he had been waiting his whole life for this moment. He came back the next day, and the day after that, and every single day after that. Joe Martin later said he had never seen anything like it. Most kids come for a week, maybe two. Cassius came like his life depended on it. He trained like he had a clock ticking inside him, like he could see something the rest of us couldn't.
because deep down, in a place deeper than logic or reason, he believed something that seemed impossible. He wasn't just going to fight. He was going to be the greatest fighter who ever lived. And that's when he started the ritual that would change everything. At home, in the small mirror in his bedroom, he began to practice something more powerful than any left hook or right cross. He practiced belief. Every morning he would stand in front of that mirror, look himself directly in the eye, and declare with the conviction of someone stating a known fact, "I am the greatest. I am the champion of the world." He was just a boy with skinny arms and fast feet, but in the mirror he saw something else, a force, a presence, someone too big to ignore, someone destiny was waiting for. His brother Rahman later remembered, "People thought he was crazy. Even I thought he was crazy sometimes, but he never doubted it, not for a second." He wasn't pretending. He wasn't fantasizing. He wasn't lying to himself. He was declaring. There's a difference, a big one.
In 1937, Napoleon Hill published what would become one of the most influential books ever written, Think and Grow Rich. Hill had spent 20 years studying the most successful people in America: Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, John D. Rockefeller, Alexander Graham Bell. He interviewed over 500 millionaires and discovered something remarkable. They all had one thing in common. They all talked to themselves. Not casually, not occasionally, but systematically, deliberately, with scientific precision. Hill called it autosuggestion, and he wrote these exact words: "Autosuggestion is the agency of communication between that part of the mind where conscious thought takes place and that which serves as the seat of action for the subconscious mind." Let me translate that into human language. Your conscious mind is like the CEO of a company. It makes decisions, sets goals, dreams dreams. But your subconscious mind is like the workforce. It's what actually gets things done. It controls your habits, your automatic responses, your deeply held beliefs about what's possible. Here's the problem. Most people never train their subconscious mind. They let it run on autopilot, programmed by whatever random experiences life throws at them. But Hill discovered that successful people do something different. They deliberately program their subconscious mind through repetition of specific thoughts. They don't just think about success, they speak it out loud, with emotion, with conviction, until their subconscious mind has no choice but to accept it as truth. Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But here's what most people miss with autosuggestion. Belief doesn't come from nowhere. It has to be built, brick by brick, day by day, through repetition so consistent it becomes unshakable. This is exactly what young Cassius Clay was doing in that mirror. He was engaging in what Hill described as the principle through which you may voluntarily feed your subconscious mind on thoughts of creative nature. Each time he said, "I am the greatest," he wasn't lying, he was programming. Think about it this way. Your subconscious mind is like a computer. It can't tell the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. It simply accepts whatever information gets repeated most often with the most emotion. Most people accidentally program themselves for mediocrity. They wake up saying things like, "I'm not good at this. I'm not lucky. I'll never be successful. Who am I kidding?" And their subconscious mind says, "Okay, boss, got it. Mediocrity it is." But Cassius was doing the opposite. Every single day, he was feeding his subconscious mind a different set of instructions. "I am the greatest. I am the champion. I am destined for greatness." Hill identified 6 steps to effective autosuggestion. Step 1. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire, or in Ali's case, the exact identity you want to embody. Cassius wasn't vague.
He didn't say, "I want to be pretty good at boxing." He said, "I am the champion of the world." Specific, definite, unmistakable. Step 2. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return. Ali understood instinctively that greatness demands payment. He was willing to give everything: his time, his comfort, his safety, his popularity. Step 3. Establish a definite date when you intend to possess what you desire. Young Ali had an internal clock. He moved with urgency, like he knew exactly when his moment would come. Step 4. Create a definite plan and begin at once. The gym, the training, the discipline, the daily ritual. He didn't just dream, he acted. Step 5. Write out a clear statement of what you want and what you'll give for it. While we don't have Ali's written goals from childhood, his spoken affirmations served the same purpose. Step 6. Read your statement aloud twice daily, once when you wake up and once before you sleep. The mirror ritual, every morning, every evening, without fail. Hill wrote, "The object of these instructions is to develop such a strong desire for money that you can literally think of nothing else." For Ali, replace money with greatness. But here's where most people get autosuggestion wrong. They think it's about positive thinking. It's not. Positive thinking is hoping things will work out. Autosuggestion is convincing your subconscious mind that they already have. There's a massive difference. Hill was very clear about this. The emotions or feeling portion of thoughts are the factors which give thoughts vitality, life, and action. When Ali stood in that mirror, he wasn't just reciting words. He was feeling the emotions of being champion, the pride, the confidence, the unshakable certainty. He was living in the end result before it existed. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying why some people achieve extraordinary success while others struggle. His conclusion was revolutionary. The subconscious mind makes no distinction between constructive and destructive thought impulses. It works with the material we feed it through our thought impulses. In other words, your subconscious mind is always listening. It's always programming itself based on what you say most often with the most emotion. The question is, what are you programming it with? Most people program themselves with doubt. Ali programmed himself with certainty. And that made all the difference.
By 18, the boy who said he was the greatest had his first chance to prove it on the world stage. The 1960 Olympics in Rome. Light heavyweight division, Cassius Clay versus the world. He didn't just win gold, he dominated, defeated every opponent. And when they placed that medal around his neck, he said the words that shocked everyone. "This is just the beginning. I told you I was the greatest." The press thought it was arrogance. His opponents called it trash talk. But his trainer, Angelo Dundee, knew better. He wasn't bragging, Dundee later said. He was just stating facts as he saw them. In his mind, he had already won every fight before he stepped in the ring. This is the power of autosuggestion in action. Ali hadn't just convinced himself he was great. He had programmed his nervous system to perform as if greatness was his natural state. When he returned to Louisville with that gold medal, something fascinating happened. He went to a whites-only restaurant to celebrate. They refused to serve him. Olympic champion or not, the color of his skin mattered more than the gold around his neck. Legend says he threw the medal into the Ohio River that night. Whether that's true or not, something died in him that day. Not his dreams, but his willingness to accept the world as it was. He turned professional at 18, and the mirror ritual continued, but now it evolved. "I am the greatest" became more specific. I will be the heavyweight champion of the world before I turn 25. I will defeat Sonny Liston. I will be the most famous athlete on earth. People laughed harder now. The professional boxing world was different from the amateurs. Tougher, more brutal. Sonny Liston was the heavyweight champion, a man so intimidating that other fighters were scared to look him in the eye. He had connections to organized crime. He had killed a man with his bare hands. He was everything young Ali was not: feared, respected, and proven. But every morning, Ali faced that mirror. And every morning, he saw something different than what the world saw. The world saw a loudmouth kid who talked too much. Ali saw the future heavyweight champion of the world. Hill wrote about this phenomenon. The subconscious mind will not remain idle. If you fail to plant desires in your subconscious mind, it will feed upon the thoughts that reach it as the result of your neglect. Ali never neglected his subconscious. He fed it daily with images of victory, detailed, emotional, specific images. He would visualize the moment he defeated Liston. He would see himself raising his hands in victory. He would feel the weight of the championship belt. He would hear the crowd chanting his name. And on February 25, 1964, it all came true. In Miami Beach, in front of a shocked world, 22-year-old Cassius Clay defeated Sonny Liston to become the heavyweight champion of the world. Liston was supposed to destroy him. Vegas oddsmakers made Clay a 7-to-1 underdog. Boxing experts predicted he wouldn't last 3 rounds. But Ali had already won this fight thousands of times in the mirror, in his mind, in his unshakable conviction that this moment was inevitable. After the fight, as reporters crowded around him, he said the words that would echo through history. "I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I'm the king of the world." But then he said something even more revealing. "I told you I was the greatest. I told you from the beginning. You didn't believe me, but I knew. I always knew." This wasn't celebration. This was confirmation. The outside world had finally caught up to the reality he had been living inside his mind for years. The mirror had never lied to him. It had shown him a champion before the world ever did. But the story doesn't end there, because life has a way of testing our deepest convictions. In 1967, at the height of his career, Ali did something that shocked the world. He refused to be inducted into the U.S. Army to fight in Vietnam. "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong. No Viet Cong ever called me nigger." The backlash was swift and brutal. He was stripped of his heavyweight title, banned from boxing for 3.5 years. The prime years of his career, ages 27 to 28, were taken from him. He lost millions of dollars. He was vilified in the press. Death threats poured in. Former fans burned his pictures. This is where most people's autosuggestion would have cracked. This is where doubt would have crept in, where the mirror would have started showing a has-been instead of a champion. But not Ali. Even in exile, even when the whole world turned against him, he never stopped facing that mirror. He never stopped declaring his greatness. "I am still the people's champion. I am still the greatest fighter who ever lived. I will be back." And he was right. When the Supreme Court overturned his conviction in 1971, Ali returned to boxing. He was older, slower, rustier. Many thought his best days were behind him. But in 1974, in Kinshasa, Zaire, he did the impossible. He defeated George Foreman, a man 8 years younger, undefeated, and hitting harder than anyone in heavyweight history, to regain the title. The Rumble in the Jungle, one of the greatest upsets in sports history. Except it wasn't an upset to Ali. He had already won this fight thousands of times in the mirror, in his mind. In Napoleon Hill wrote, "The subconscious mind resembles a fertile garden spot in which weeds will grow in abundance if the seeds of more desirable crops are not sown therein." Ali never neglected his subconscious. He fed it daily with images of victory, detailed, emotional, specific images. He would visualize the moment he defeated Liston. He would see himself raising his hands in victory. He would feel the weight of the championship belt. He would hear the crowd chanting his name. The mirror never lied. It reflected back exactly what he had decided to see.
You may not be stepping into a boxing ring, but you are facing something. A dream that feels distant, a version of yourself that seems impossible, a voice that whispers, "Who do you think you are?" Let me give you the same weapon Ali used. Not gloves, not speed, words. Words spoken with intent and repeated until they echo in your bones. But before we dive into the practical steps, let's understand why most people fail at autosuggestion. Napoleon Hill identified 3 common mistakes. Mistake number 1, they speak without emotion. Just mumbling positive affirmations while scrolling through your phone won't change anything. Your subconscious mind responds to emotion, not just words. When Ali said, "I am the greatest," he felt it in every cell of his body. Mistake number 2, they give up too soon. Hill was clear. The subconscious mind requires repetition of thought before it accepts any idea as true. Ali didn't say it once and expect magic. He said it every day for years. Mistake number 3, they don't visualize the end result. Words alone aren't enough. You must see yourself already being the person you want to become. You must feel what it feels like to have achieved your goal. Now here's your step-by-step blueprint. Step 1, define your identity goal. Not just what you want to have, but who you want to become. Be specific. Be definite. Don't say, "I want to be successful." Say, "I am a successful entrepreneur who runs a $1 million company." Don't say, "I want to lose weight." Say, "I am a healthy, energetic person who weighs 150 pounds." Speak in the present tense, like it's already done. This is crucial. Your subconscious mind operates in the now. Future tense creates delay. Present tense creates urgency. Step 2, create your daily ritual. Stand in front of a mirror every morning and every evening. Look yourself directly in the eye. Don't blink. Don't look away. Say your identity statement with conviction. Why a mirror? Because it forces you to confront the gap between who you are and who you're becoming. Most people avoid this confrontation. Champions embrace it. Step 3, add emotion and visualization. Don't just say the words, feel them. Picture yourself already being that person. What are you wearing? Where are you? How do you feel? What does success smell like, sound like, taste like? The more vivid the visualization, the more powerful the programming. Ali didn't just see himself winning fights. He felt the leather gloves on his hands. He heard the crowd roaring. He felt the sweat, the adrenaline, the moment of victory. Make it real in your mind,
first. Step 4. Write it down. Hill emphasized the power of written goals. Write out your identity statement clearly. Read it aloud during your mirror sessions. Carry it with you. There's something magical about written words. They give weight to dreams. They make the invisible visible. Step 5. Persist through doubt. Here's where most people quit. The first few days, maybe weeks, you'll feel silly. Your rational mind will rebel. You'll hear that voice saying, "This is stupid. You're lying to yourself." That voice is not your friend. That voice is your current programming fighting to survive. Remember, Ali's teachers thought he was crazy. His neighbors thought he was delusional. Even his own family sometimes wondered if he had lost his mind. But he kept going because he understood something most people don't. The world doesn't have to believe you for autosuggestion to work. Only you do. Step 6. Track your internal changes. Pay attention to subtle shifts in your thinking. Notice when you start naturally acting like the person you're declaring yourself to be. Notice when opportunities start appearing. Notice when your confidence grows. This isn't magic. It's neuroscience. Your brain is literally rewiring itself based on the information you're consistently feeding it. Step 7. Ignore the skeptics. Hill wrote, "Opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth." People will doubt you. They'll call it wishful thinking. They'll say you're being unrealistic. Good. Let them. Their doubt has nothing to do with your destiny. Ali faced skeptics his entire life. Even after he became champion, people said he got lucky. Even after he won the title 3 times, they found reasons to diminish his achievements. But champions don't live for applause. They live for the moment when the mirror stops showing who they were and starts reflecting who they've always known they were meant to be.
If something stirred in you during this story, if you felt that familiar ache of unrealized potential, don't just scroll away. Stand up right now. Walk to your mirror. Look yourself in the eye and speak. Say who you are. Say who you're becoming. Say it like you mean it. Say it like your life depends on it. Because maybe it does. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying successful people and concluded that thoughts become things. But only when those thoughts are backed by unshakable belief. And belief is built through repetition. Muhammad Ali proved that a skinny kid from Louisville could literally speak himself into becoming the most famous athlete in history. Not through luck, not through connections, through the deliberate, systematic programming of his subconscious mind. You have the same tool, the same power, the same potential. The only question is, will you use it? Then come back here. Like this video if it changed how you think about the power of your own words. Subscribe to our channel and join a community of minds who are done waiting for permission and ready to start declaring their greatness. Hit that notification bell because we're going deeper into Napoleon Hill's principles with real stories of people who use them to achieve the impossible. Today, your homework is simple. Find your mirror. Define your declaration and start programming the person you're meant to become. Because mirrors don't make you great. They just show you who you've been brave enough to believe you already are. And champions believe first, achieve second. Just like the boy from Louisville who shook up the world by first shaking up himself.